Remember me, Cowboy. I'm the Apache girl you saved years ago. I've returned to marry you." The words echoed across the lonely stretch of desert as the evening sun bled red behind the mountains. Colt Baxter froze, dust swirling around his boots, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. He had spent years trying to forget that night, the night he carried a wounded Apache girl across a burning canyon, knowing saving her meant betraying both sides of a war he never asked for. Now she stood before him, fierce yet trembling, eyes full of a past he thought had died long ago. Colt's voice cracked as he whispered her name. "Naya, it can't be you." She stepped closer, her shadow merging with his, the smell of sage and smoke clinging to her dark braids. Her face had changed, stronger, wiser, yet the same silent fire glowed behind her eyes. She touched the scar on his cheek, the one she bandaged with trembling hands years before. "You saved me," she said softly. "When my own tribe hunted me, when the cavalry blamed me, you carried me. I swore if I lived, I would find you again." Colt looked away, guilt twisting inside him. "I only complicated your life." Naya shook her head. "No, you gave me life." Her voice wavered as she revealed the truth. After he left her at a hidden desert shelter, she was taken by a rival clan and kept prisoner for years. She survived by remembering his promise that she'd see dawn again. "You thought you left me safe," she whispered, "but the world wasn't kind. Still, I made it through. Because of you." Colt felt his chest tighten. He had carried regret for years, unaware she had endured even worse. The wind shifted, carrying the distant howl of wolves. Naya lifted her chin with quiet strength. "I didn't come to blame you, Colt. I came because I followed the old ways. When a life is saved, a bond is formed. My heart chose you long before I understood what love was." Colt stepped back, shaken. "Naya, life here is dangerous. I'm hunted by rustlers, outlaws, debts I can't pay. I'm no man for promises." She closed the gap between them. "I didn't cross deserts to be afraid." Her voice trembled with determination. "I crossed them for you." Colt tried to push her away with words he didn't believe. "You don't understand what I've become." Naya studied him, his tired eyes, the bruises on his knuckles, the weight he carried like a curse. She placed her palm on his chest. "I understand you're alive, and that is enough." But Colt had spent years convinced he deserved nothing, not love, not peace, not redemption. "Naya," he murmured, "I'm no hero. Just a broken cowhand trying to outrun his mistakes." She smiled sadly. "Then let me run beside you." Before Colt could speak, a rifle cracked from the ridge. Dirt exploded near their feet. Naya instantly shoved him behind a rock. "Your past?" she asked sharply. Colt nodded, breath ragged. "Wardell's men. I owe them money, more than I can repay." Naya's eyes flashed with anger. "They fire at you like you are prey." Another shot sliced the air. Colt grabbed her arm. "You need to leave. They won't stop." But Naya refused. "I didn't fight for years just to lose you now." The gunfire grew closer, echoing across the canyon. Colt tried to distract the men so Naya could flee, but she stayed rooted beside him. Suddenly she let out a piercing whistle, an Apache signal. 3 horses galloped into view, led by a massive painted stallion. Naya leapt onto the animal with grace, then reached out her hand. "Colt, ride." Colt hesitated only a second before grabbing her wrist and vaulting up behind her as bullets flew like angry hornets around them. They raced across dry riverbeds and jagged cliffs, Wardell's men fading into dust behind them. Colt held Naya tightly, realizing she didn't shake, didn't fear, didn't bend. She had survived far worse than gunmen. When they finally stopped at a hidden valley of crimson rocks and whispering pines, Naya dismounted and faced him with blazing eyes. "Your enemies follow you because you stand alone," she said. "But you don't have to anymore." Colt felt a warmth he hadn't known in years spreading inside him. Naya led him deeper into the valley, revealing a small Apache camp, peaceful, smoke drifting gently from the fire pits. An elder approached, his face weathered like carved stone. "This is him?" he asked her. Naya nodded. "The man who saved me." The elder studied Colt with piercing calm. "A life saved is a sacred thread. She has chosen to bind her future to yours. But you must accept this bond freely." Colt swallowed hard. "I don't deserve it." The elder replied, "No one deserves love. That is why it is a gift." As night settled, Colt sat beside Naya under the vast spread of stars. She told him the missing pieces of her story, the escape she planned for months, the people she lost, the courage she borrowed from the memory of his voice saying she'd survive. Colt listened, every word piercing deeper. "I thought you were my past," he said quietly. "But maybe you're what the future was waiting for." Naya tilted her head. "Then take it, Colt, before fear steals it again." The next morning brought a harsh twist. Wardell's men found the valley, demanding Colt be handed over. The tribe refused, forming a protective circle around Naya and Colt. Wardell sneered, threatening to burn the land. Colt stepped forward, raising his hands. "This ends today. I'll go." Naya grabbed his arm. "No, you won't walk back into chains." But Colt shook his head. "I won't let them hurt you. Not after everything you endured." His voice broke. "I'd rather die than see you taken again." Before Colt could surrender, Naya stepped forward alone, fearless. She offered Wardell a trade, safe passage for the tribe in exchange for her capturing Colt herself. Her deception stunned Colt until he noticed the small signal she gave him with her fingers, just like years ago when danger approached. Colt understood. When Wardell reached for her, she unleashed a hidden blade, cutting the rope on a rock trap overhead. The canyon rumbled as massive boulders crashed down, scattering the outlaws and forcing them to retreat in panic. When the dust settled, Colt rushed to her, pulling her into his arms. "You risked everything." Naya smiled breathlessly. "So did you. That means we're even." Colt held her tighter, overwhelmed by everything she had become: warrior, survivor, protector. "Naya, I don't know what love is supposed to feel like. But when I look at you, it feels like home." She touched his cheek. "Then let me stay in that home." The tribe celebrated their survival that night with drums and firelight. The elder approached them with a ceremonial blanket, placing it over their shoulders. "Two spirits crossing storms to find each other," he said. "Now walk the path as one." Colt felt his heart tremble. Naya squeezed his hand, her eyes shining with quiet joy. The world around them faded into warmth and belonging, a future no longer haunted by shadows but illuminated by everything they had endured. Days later, Colt brought Naya back to his ranch, a place battered by storms and deaths. She walked the land with reverence, touching the fence posts he repaired, the barn he built alone. "This place holds your loneliness," she said softly. "Let it hold our strength instead." Together they restored the ranch, her leading wild horses with gentle confidence, him rebuilding walls he once let rot. Slowly, the ranch transformed into a sanctuary, healed by the same hands that had healed each other. One evening, as dusk painted the sky gold, Colt stood beside Naya near the corral. "You came to marry me," he said with a nervous half-smile. "Do you still want that?" Naya stepped closer, eyes glowing like amber embers. "I didn't come for a moment, Colt. I came for a lifetime." She placed his hand over her heart. "This beat survived years because it remembered you." Colt felt his breath catch. "Then stay," he whispered. "Stay forever." They married beneath the cottonwood tree, the same place Colt once buried his hopes. The tribe gathered, the wind carrying a soft blessing through the branches. Colt and Naya exchanged vows that didn't need fancy words, only truth, gratitude, and the promise to never walk alone again. When she whispered, "I choose you, always," Colt felt the last of his ghosts dissolve like dust in the river. Seasons passed, each one stitching them closer. Naya taught him Apache songs. He taught her how to mend fences and tame stubborn cattle. Their days were filled with laughter, gentle arguments, shared triumphs, and the quiet peace of two souls who had wandered far only to find their destiny in each other's arms. Every dawn, Colt woke feeling he'd finally earned the life he once thought impossible. But the true miracle came when Naya revealed she was carrying their child. Colt's knees nearly buckled as he placed his ear against her belly, hearing the promise of a new beginning. "After everything we lost," she whispered, "the world gives us back a piece of hope." Colt cupped her face. "This child will grow between two worlds, but love twice as fiercely." Naya smiled softly. A child born of survival and devotion. When their daughter arrived, tiny, strong, fierce-eyed like Naya, Colt cried openly for the first time in years. They named her Tala, meaning wolf, for the strength she inherited from her mother. Holding his family close, Colt felt something he had never known: peace without fear. Love without conditions. A future without regret. Years later, as the sun set over their thriving ranch, Naya leaned against Colt's shoulder. "Everything happened because you once chose to save a girl no one wanted," she murmured. Colt kissed her forehead. I didn't know then I was saving the woman who'd save me back. Naya smiled. Now do you believe I came to marry you? Colt laughed softly. I believe you came to change my life. Their daughter ran toward them, laughter ringing across the fields. Colt lifted her high into the sky, Naya watching them with radiant eyes. Across the horizon, the land they once feared became the land they built together, strong, safe, unbroken. The past no longer chained them, it carried them. The future no longer frightened them, it welcomed them. And in that golden light, Colt finally understood the truth behind Naya's very first words. She didn't return because of a debt. She didn't return because of tradition. She returned because love, once sparked in a moment of courage, never truly fades. It only waits for the right time to rise again. Together they stood, cowboy, Apache warrior, and their child, woven by fate, strengthened by survival, united by love. And they lived the life destiny had tried, but failed, to steal from them.